most dangerous thing humanity has ever discovered may not be nuclear weapons, may not be artificial intelligence, may not even be technology itself. It may be the human mind. Because the deeper science studies consciousness, the less we actually seem to understand it. For centuries, humans assumed the brain was simply a biological machine. Predictable, limited, explainable. But modern neuroscience keeps uncovering cases that sound almost impossible. People waking up from accidents, suddenly able to play piano without training. Ordinary individuals developing mathematical abilities overnight. Brain injury survivors producing complex art, despite never studying it before. This phenomenon is called acquired savant syndrome. And yes, it is medically documented. In rare cases, traumatic brain injuries, strokes, or neurological disruptions appear to unlock extraordinary abilities hidden beneath normal awareness. Suddenly, someone with no artistic background begins drawing with incredible precision. Someone terrible at mathematics starts mentally calculating numbers faster than calculators. It sounds supernatural, but science says it's real, which raises a disturbing possibility. What if the brain is not creating intelligence, but filtering it? Some neuroscientists have proposed that the brain functions less like a generator and more like a reducing valve, filtering enormous amounts of information so consciousness can function without overload. Because imagine perceiving everything at once. Every detail, every pattern, every sensory signal simultaneously. The human mind might collapse under the weight of total perception. So the brain narrows reality into a manageable experience. But in some savant cases, those filters appear damaged, and hidden abilities emerge. Now, imagine the brain differently for a second. Not as a computer, but as a radio, a biological receiver operating across frequencies of awareness. Most people spend their entire lives tuned into the same station, ordinary consciousness. But just because a radio hasn't assigned a name to certain frequencies doesn't mean those frequencies don't or can't exist. It may simply mean we haven't learned how to access or interpret them yet. And strangely enough, this exact idea started appearing in places far outside religion or philosophy, including inside classified government research. During the Cold War, the CIA funded a real program known as Project Stargate. Its purpose? To investigate whether human consciousness could access information beyond ordinary sensory perception. Remote viewing, the ability to describe distant places, people, or events without physically being there. Now, to be clear, remote viewing has never been conclusively proven under mainstream scientific standards. But that does not automatically mean it is impossible. Because one major problem researchers faced was consistency. Many remote viewers described their experiences as unstable, spontaneous, or difficult to consciously control. Almost like trying to tune into a weak radio signal that fades in and out unpredictably. Sometimes accurate, sometimes completely wrong. And that may be exactly why intelligence agencies became interested in it. Not because they had mastered it, but because they wanted to. Because if even a small percentage of the results were genuine, the implications would be world-changing. Imagine gathering intelligence without satellites, without crossing borders, without technology. The entire purpose of the research was not simply to prove psychic powers. It was to understand whether consciousness itself could eventually be trained, stabilized, and exploited like any other human ability. And maybe that's the most important detail people miss. Human beings rarely discover abilities fully formed. Flight existed before airplanes. Electricity existed before humans understood how to harness it. Radio frequencies existed long before radios were invented. In the same way, If consciousness operates on mechanisms we still do not fully understand, then humanity may currently be at the equivalent of the earliest stages of discovery. Primitive understanding, unstable signals, incomplete science, and deep down, almost every human being has experienced something they cannot fully explain. A dream that felt more real than reality itself. A strange intuition that turned out accurate. Moments where time seemed distorted. Thoughts or memories that feel impossible to describe properly afterward. Even something as common as fever dreams during extremely high temperatures can feel terrifyingly surreal. Vivid hallucinations, distorted realities, fragmented memories, sensations that seem beyond ordinary consciousness. Science explains many of these experiences through neurological stress, altered brain chemistry, and disrupted perception. But the important part is this: they reveal just how unstable and flexible human consciousness actually is. The mind is not as fixed as we pretend it is. Science already knows the brain operates through measurable electrical frequencies. Delta waves, theta waves, alpha waves, beta waves. Different states of consciousness literally correspond to different neural patterns and frequencies. Meditation changes brain activity. Trauma changes perception. Hypnosis alters awareness. Psychedelics radically reorganize neural communication. Near-death experiences continue to challenge neuroscientists, and consciousness itself still remains scientifically unexplained. Think about how insane that is. Humanity split the atom, mapped the genome, reached space, built artificial intelligence, yet we still cannot fully explain why awareness exists inside the brain at all. Maybe consciousness is simply biology. Maybe every strange experience has a material explanation we haven't discovered yet. Or maybe the human mind is more like a receiver than we realize. A receiver capable of tuning into frequencies we are only beginning to notice. And perhaps the real reason these ideas disturb people is because they force humanity to confront a terrifying possibility.